Would you rather win the Premier League or the Champions League? That is the topic of today's discussion. Now, we are obviously 6 Premier Leagues deep at this stage. We're doing quite well, 4 in the last 5, but that Champions League trophy is the one that has eluded us for so many years now. Jordan, we have to talk about this. Which one off the bat would you rather win this season, taking everything into account?
Premier League is bread and butter. Premier League is it. For me, I make this very well known on the streams and everything like that. I want to win the Premier League. I want to win the Premier League every season. We watch a lot of games to not win a Premier League. Do you know what I mean? 38-game season. I think the Champions League, don't get me wrong, I really want to win it. I want to get it out of the way. It's been our duck, you know what I mean? We can't win it. It's a bit of a rip. It almost feels like we'll never win it. But Premier League is it for me. Premier League is it. That doesn't mean I don't want to win the Champions League. I just want to get one out of the way with the Champions League. But the Premier League is it. Where are you lying?
The Premier League, it's a really tough one, isn't it? Because I think for City fans growing up of our age and slightly older, it's always been win the Premier League, because we're surrounded by, our neighbours and our friends in school who are all United fans or Liverpool fans. They're always talking about win the Premier League, win the Premier League. Now we're doing it. We're like, yes, we're on top. But to be recognised at that prestigious level, globally, I do agree that there is a certain expectation to win the Champions League. And I'm happy to accept the fact that when you bring in players like Erling Haaland, like even De Bruyne and Alvarez, and you've got the manager Pep Guardiola, there's a massive expectation to win that Champions League. And there's a part of me now at this stage that, yes, don't get me wrong, I want to win the Premier League every single season, but I'd love to win that Champions League just to get the monkey off the back and just to shut a few people up. I'm sick of it because we know and we recognize ourselves as a fantastic team, and we have been for so long, but people are unwilling to recognize that. And that will be the last penny to drop, I think, to cement us as a global powerhouse.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think people, if we don't win the Champions League, especially under Pep Guardiola, will brand Pep as a failure at Manchester City. Now, a lot of us City fans won't brand Pep Guardiola as a failure. I personally don't think so either. I think if Pep wasn't to win the Champions League and he left Manchester City, it'd be a little bit of an air of disappointment about it, because you think, that might have been the best chance to win the Champions League because we just had one of the best managers in world football. But I think people ride too much into the Champions League hype on that side of it. But you're right, the prestigiousness, all of that, it comes with that Champions League trophy, and people will always roast us for not winning it until the day that we actually do win it.
I want to talk a little bit about why maybe we haven't won it to date, if you understand what I mean, because we've had so many great teams. And I think there's been at least 2 Manchester City teams that have been knocked out of the Champions League in recent years that was on paper and probably performance-wise consistency over the 38-game campaign, as you spoke, was the best team in Europe. And I'm not sure why we haven't won it. Have you any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm game for that. There are opportunities where you look at it and say we probably should have won it. The most recent being Chelsea. Obviously, that was our most recent final. Pep Guardiola did full send a weird team, a weird lineup, and I think a lot of City fans were on the same boat of we should have started a holding midfielder. Having Gundo as that there wasn't it. We have played Gundo in holding midfield roles previously, but it didn't really work out because he was a bit too advanced. And that's where the disappointment comes in, because you look at it and go, these City sides that we've had in the past, like they could have won that. When we had the Chelsea in the final, we could have won that. We could have won it that year, 100%. We should have won it that year. But the lineup tinkering from Pep was a gamble from Pep, and it didn't pay off. Now we've seen Pep Guardiola gamble a lot of times in the Champions League as well. Sometimes pays off, sometimes doesn't. That was one of the ones that doesn't pay off. Now I say that, but and all of that, but last year's team, we should have beat Real Madrid. Last year's team, we should have beat Real Madrid. We should have been in that Champions League final last year. Because that first leg, I say should have, do you know what I mean? On the basis that we should have scored our chances. Like the chances that we had in that first leg would have put us into the final. It would have just then, look, that's it. Because once that first leg was done, I remember me and LB were getting cooked. We were getting cooked for saying that it was a little bit disappointing, even though we beat Real Madrid, because of all the chances that we missed in that game. We could have put the tie to bed. And then looking back at it now, hindsight, you go, yeah, we should have put our chances away in that first half. And then the second half doesn't matter too much. There is no come back. There is no 93-20 from Real Madrid to do that. But I think that's another one that potentially, that's probably not the two in it. Do you remember when you were saying about the two teams that could have won it? That's just an extra one that I think last year's could have gone the way.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And there's a massive part of me thinks that even though this current City team doesn't perform as consistently well as, last year's team or previous teams have done, there's a part of me feels that this current squad is primed and almost put together to win this competition. I think we have more pieces in our squad now that's capable of winning the Champions League this year. I mean, that game you spoke about where we were disappointed, and it is weird saying that after beating Real Madrid, you're disappointed. If we had Erling Haaland or even Julian Alvarez in that team, I believe that tie is put to bed
Without
leg.
doubt.
And now we have that striker now. We have two of those strikers. We're defensively looking solid now since Ruben Diaz came back. I think knockout football, this team could be primed to do. And the fact that we're still challenging for the Premier League as well, and I believe we also can win that, is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing considering this is apparently our transition year as well, where we're learning how to play with Erling Haaland. And if you look at the Leipzig game, we beat them 7-0. We didn't have a full back on the pitch, which is insane. It's just centre back FC at this moment in time. Now, with the teams that are left in the Champions League, I think. Do you know what I mean? We do have a great chance of going on and winning this year. I think had Calvin Phillips been a little bit more introduced to the team, maybe that shoulder injury, if that didn't exist, and he was a little bit more embedded, I think again that would have further helped us in the Champions League this year, because we could have dropped into a double pivot. More of a double pivot, go a little bit defensive when needed to protect that back line a little bit more, especially in these two-leg games where we're taking a lead into the second leg and we know that we can hold on to this. Or at the end of a game, if we want to hold out, we can bring on Calvin Phillips for that extra CDM. I think there are situations where I think that could be a little bit of a miss, and maybe why in summer we could potentially be looking at a Calvin Phillips replacement already, which is weird. But yeah, I think the team this year, I think it has every chance of going on and winning the Champions League.
You have to fancy your chances as well. We're only really looking at the time we're recording this video, the draw is tomorrow morning, so we'll find out. You'll know by the time this comes out who we're playing, but there only really is 2 or 3 teams that you're looking at and saying they will probably cause us real problems. But nobody in this competition will want to draw Manchester City at this current moment. They just won't. Real Madrid won't want to play against Erling Haaland, and I have to say, even Kevin De Bruyne, who has looked a little bit inconsistent this season, there's a part of me thinks he looks more hungry in the Champions League. He wants to cement his legacy and his status as a Manchester City legend by winning the Champions League, and that's understandable. But listen, I want you all at home to leave your comments down below. Let us know, what would you rather win, the Premier League or the Champions League? Obviously, having won a lot of trophies in the Premier League in the last couple of years, are you sick of it? Are you ready for that Champions League now? And make sure on your way out to leave a quick like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new on the road to 75k. And we'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Enjoy the rest of your day.